There's something different about being alone on a rainy night. The silence, the shadows, the feeling that someone is watching. This story comes from Oregon, 2002. A woman named Lisa moved into a quiet cottage in the woods, hoping to escape city life. She was recently divorced, eager for peace, and the isolation felt like a fresh start. But peace doesn't last long when someone's watching you from the dark. It started one rainy evening. Lisa was curled up on her couch, reading by the warm glow of a lamp. The storm outside raged, wind howling through the trees as lightning flashed. She glanced up and saw a pale face staring at her through the window, just watching, not moving, not blinking. She screamed, the book flying from her hands. But when she ran to the window, there was nothing there, only the wet prints of bare feet on the porch. She called the police. They searched the area, found nothing. Sign of forced entry. They told her it was probably a drifter, someone passing through. They promised to patrol the area more often. Lisa tried to move on, but something wasn't right. Her dog, Max, a golden retriever, began acting strange. Every night at exactly 2:37 a.m., he would growl, then bark uncontrollably at the ceiling. The hallway light would flicker. Scratching sounds echoed faintly through the attic. Lisa convinced herself it was squirrels, or maybe raccoons. She wanted to believe that until one night, she found her bedroom door open in the morning. She always locked it, always the next day. Lisa called a handyman to inspect the attic. He found something strange. There was a crawl space above her bedroom she'd never noticed, partially hidden behind old insulation and dusty boards. When they opened it, they found food wrappers, a dirty blanket, a rusted thermos, and in the corner, a notebook. Its pages were filled with erratic handwriting. She sleeps at 12:41. She locks the door now. She talks to the dog too much. Someone had been living in her attic, watching her, writing about her, coming down when she was asleep. The police were called again. They launched a full investigation. Whoever had been there was gone, but had likely been living above her for weeks, possibly months. Lisa moved out the next morning. She'd never returned. To this day, the man was never found. And sometimes, when the wind picks up just right and the rain taps against the windows, she swears she can feel eyes on her, still watching, alone, in the middle of the woods. On a rainy night, are you ever really sure you're alone? Some roads are dangerous not because of the twists and turns, but because of what lurks in the dark. This is the story of a trucker who picked up a hitchhiker on a stormy night, and unknowingly gave her one last ride. It was the winter of 1998 when a trucker named James found himself driving down the infamous Route 491 in New Mexico. The rain fell in sheets, and the road ahead seemed endless. A lonely stretch, slated nothing but miles of flat land and the hum of his truck. He'd been on the road for hours, his eyes growing heavy, when suddenly he spotted a figure by the side of the road. A young woman, soaked to the bone, her thumb extended out, begging for a ride. James hesitated. This stretch of road was known for strange happenings, but the storm was fierce, and he couldn't leave her out there. Besides, she looked harmless. He slowed down, rolled down the window. She looked at him with wide, tear-filled eyes. "I don't mean to be a bother," she said, her voice soft and strained. "I'm just trying to get to the town up ahead." James, a bit uneasy but feeling obligated, opened the passenger door. She climbed in silently, and as the truck rumbled back onto the wet highway, he tried to make conversation. "Where are you headed?" But the woman didn't answer right. Away, her eyes remained fixed on the road ahead. Then, finally, she whispered, "To my family." For miles. She said nothing. Her gaze never wavered, just staring at the road, fingers curled tightly around the seatbelt. James couldn't help but feel an odd chill settle in. She seemed out of place, too still, almost too perfect in her silence. It wasn't until they reached the outskirts of a small, sleepy town that she spoke again. "This is where I need to get off," she said. James slowed the truck as they approached the dimly lit house she had pointed to, a dilapidated structure at the edge of town. The porch light flickered, barely visible through the sheets of rain. Asterisk, he pulled over. She didn't say anything more, just opened the door and stepped out into the pouring rain. James watched her walk toward the house, her figure swallowed by the darkness. But something didn't sit right. He turned the truck around and drove back into town. The feeling of unease gnawed at him. He had to know. He had to make sure she was okay, so he turned around and drove back to the house. Asterisk, when he arrived, there was no sign of her. Confused, he knocked on the door, but it was an old woman who answered, her face worn with age. "Can I help you?" she asked. James described the young woman he had given a ride to. The old woman went pale. Her hands trembled as she stepped back. That's my daughter," she whispered. "But she died in a car crash on this very road 20 years ago." Asterisk James was stunned, unable to speak. He couldn't breathe as the realization hit he had just given a ride to a ghost. A soul trapped, still wandering the highway after death, seeking something it would never find. Asterisk, the old woman turned to him, tears welling in her eyes. Asterisk, "I've been waiting for her to come home for years," she said, her voice trembling. Asterisk, James left, shaken and unable to explain what he had seen. Asterisk, to this day, no one can explain what happened that night on Route 491. Asterisk, was it a ghost? Asterisk, a trick of the mind? Asterisk, or something even more sinister? Asterisk. The next time you're driving down a lonely road in the middle of nowhere, with rain pouring down around you, think twice before picking up that hitchhiker, because some souls never leave the road. Asterisk. In a world full of locked doors, sometimes it's the ones we can't open that hide the most terrifying secrets. This is the chilling story of a young woman who moved into a seemingly ordinary apartment in Tokyo, only to discover that some rooms are better left locked. Asterisk, it was 2010 when a college student, Mia, found her new home, a small, affordable apartment in Tokyo, nestled in a quiet building. It seemed perfect for her studies. The rent was cheap, the location convenient, and the landlord, an elderly man, seemed harmless enough. But Mia soon discovered something strange about her new place. A locked closet in the hallway. Asterisk, it wasn't just any closet. It was heavily secured, with an old, rusted padlock, as if someone had gone to great lengths to keep it shut. She asked the landlord about it. "Oh, that's just storage," he said. "Nothing important in there." He chuckled, waving her off. But Mia couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. For weeks, she pushed the thought to the back of her mind. But every time she walked past that locked door, she felt an unsettling presence, weight, pressing down on her. Asterisk, late one night, after finishing her studies, Mia returned home exhausted. But when she walked through the door, she felt it again, the heavy, oppressive air in the hallway. The locked door seemed to beckon her, and against her better judgment, Mia decided to open it. With trembling hands, she grabbed a crowbar from under her kitchen sink. She took only a few minutes, but it felt like hours as she pried the door open. Finally, with a loud creak, it swung wide. Asterisk, inside, she found something she never expected. The small room was bricked up, but not like a regular wall. No, the bricks were hastily shoved together, as if someone had sealed off the space in a rush. And as she looked closer, she could see the remnants of old, torn blankets and a mattress lying in the corner. Her heart raced as she stepped forward, the flashlight shaking in her hand. And there, lying on the floor, was a journal, its pages yellowed with age. Mia opened it, her breath catching in her throat as she read the first lines. She doesn't know yet. She'll see me soon. I've been waiting for so long. Soon, she'll come. The entries grew darker. There were notes about someone being kept locked in the closet for weeks, maybe months. There were drawings of a young woman, Mia, with the same features, the same hairstyle. And then the last entry. Tonight, she'll come. She'll know I'm here. She'll open the door. Asterisk, suddenly, the flashlight flickered out, and Mia was plunged into darkness. She heard something, the sound of breathing, low and raspy, like someone else was in the room with her. Terrified, Mia backed out of the closet, slamming the door behind her. But the damage was done. She couldn't ignore it any longer. Asterisk, she called the police. They arrived soon after, breaking down the wall with professional tools. What they found was worse than anything Mia could have imagined. The sealed room was a prison used for years to keep someone captive, someone who had been left behind long ago. Their bones were never found, but the room had been left untouched, as if the person had vanished into thin air. Mia never saw the landlord again. The building was sold, and soon after, it was torn down. But the story didn't end there. Asterisk, people say that the building's new owners experienced strange occurrences, shadows that moved on their own, cold spots. Asterisk, and sometimes, late at night, a faint voice could be heard from the walls. Asterisk, a voice that whispered, "I'm still here." Asterisk, some doors are meant to stay closed, and some rooms are better left locked. Because when they're opened, the past can return. And it never forgets.